Happy Independence Day to all! Today will be a day that no Indian will ever forget. If you ask, what is freedom? The day India got independence from the British. But there is one more thing that we should remember. The history of sacrifice of a people who were oppressed by the British and who gave martyrdom for the Indian freedom struggle. In 1498, a sailor named Vasco da Gama, along with his companions, landed Kozhikode beach in Kerala. Knowing that India was a huge trading hub, the Europeans started their trade here. So on August 24, 1608, the British reached Surat for the first time. Mughal Emperor Jahangir gave them the right to trade, but the goal of the British, who came under the pretense of trade, was spices and precious treasures in India. The way they found to get all his was to invade and plunder the native countries of India. Then in 1700, the East India Company took advantage of the power of the Mughal Empire, which was a major power in India. In the Battle of the Plassey on 23 June 1757, the army led by Robert Clive defeated the Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dawla. Later on, the East India Company grew. They grew up despite the enslavement and impoverishment of the Indian people. The company had to deal with the subsequent Asiatic revolt, the Sikh rebellion, and isolated broadcasts by the King Parashiraja and Veluthambi Dalava. The East India Company, finding it difficult to deal with the Indians who were ahead of them in population, selected some of the Indians as sepoys and gave them a mega wage and slave-like treatment. Pig and cow fats were used in the cartridges used by the company. This led to a great riot among the sepoy community, which consisted of Hindus and Muslims. On May 10, 1857, a sepoy named Mangal Pandey opened fire on the British and led to a riot. This came to be known as the Sepoy Mutiny and is such as the first freedom struggle of India. After such organized broadcasts, the British government realized that India was important to the economic growth of Britain and took over the sovereignty of India from the East India Company. Thus, in 1877, British Queen Victoria became the Queen of India. The Battle of Plassey was decisive victory of the British East India Company over the Nawab of Bengal and his French allies on 23 June 1757 under the leadership of Robert Clive. Realizing the power of organized struggle, the Indian people formed the Indian National Congress in 1885. At that time, the British, who had to face protests from places like Bengal under the leadership of Lord Curzon, partitioned Bengal on July 19, 1905. Also, the capital of India was shifted from Calcutta to Delhi. Realizing the organizational power of the undifferentiated Hindu-Muslim people of India, the British government sowed a poisonous seed of religious hatred to destroy it. In 1915, the 40 years old Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the father of nation, arrived. He and those who were in India at that time did not even think about the extent of Gandhiji's role in independence. Gandhiji's was different from the struggles that India had seen till then. He taught the Indian people that they can fight through non-violence. On March 18, 1919, Sidney Rowlatt was the judge who passed the Rowlatt Act. Under this act, the British were given many powers such as arresting any Indian and imprisoning them without trial. A crowd of tens of thousands of women, children, and men who decided to organize against it assembled at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, Punjab on 13th April 1990. Against this crowd, British Brigadier General Dyer, in that incident, more than 1,500 people became martyrs. This incident increased the hatred of the British against the British and forced them to fight against them forcefully for independence. In 1920, the Indian National Congress started a non-cooperation movement demanding Swaraj within 1 year. In connection with this, they started to boycott foreign clothes and oppose the British. But after the Chauri Chaura broadcast in February 1922, Gandhiji withdrew the non-cooperation agitation. In 1928, the British beat Lala Lajpat Rai, who worked for the youth of India. In the Lathi charge during the strike, he died of a heart attack 2 weeks later. Bhagat Singh and his associates, who all know for spare those responsible for this. They executed 21 years old John Swanderson and British Superintendent James Paul in Lahore in 1928. Later they went into hiding. Bhagat Singh and his associates were arrested after planting a bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly in Delhi in April 1929. So Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev were hanged. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose became the president of Indian National Congress at a time when Indians were increasingly opposed to the British. Netaji was exact opposite of Gandhiji's struggle. He believed that the British could be defeated with the help of Germany and Japan during the Second World War. He formed the Indian National Army by coordinating the Indians from the British Army captured by Japan from the Second World War. In 1942, with the help of the Indian National Congress, Gandhiji started the Quit India War with the aim of driving the British out of India completely. Following this, the British imprisoned Gandhiji. The Indian people, who had lost everything, had no fear of the British or their guns, and were guided by the optimistic belief that freedom would come at any moment. The casteism sung by the British among the Indians began to spread. Under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the demand for a country for Muslims only began to waver. The brothers who fought together for the freedom thought face to face. As a result, Pakistan became an independent country on August 14, 1947. On the night of August 14, 1947, when the whole world slept, only one people who were endured slavery for almost 109. They waited for freedom. This was the result of suffering, sacrifice, and enslavement of lakhs of people that day. Indian freedom. At this moment, we should remember the freedom fighters who gave us freedom and who sacrificed their lives for the country. Jana Gana Mana Adinayaka Jaya Hai Bharat Bhagya Vidada Punjab Sindhu Gujarat Maratha Dravida Uttara Ganga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Janati Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गादा जन गण मंगल ध्यायक जय है ಭಾರತ ಭಾಗ್ಯ ವಿಧಾತ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಜಯ 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 ಜಯ